So, to show an example on a tort case, in this case of Donoghue versus Stevenson, facts of cases, the facts on the case, um, on August 26, 1928, Mrs. Donoghue's friend bought her ginger beer from Will Meadow Cafe in Paisley. So the bottle was made of dark opaque glass, and when she poured out the rest of the drink, the decomposed remains of snail floated out. And Mrs. Donoghue claimed she suffered shock and severe gastroenteritis because of this. She couldn't claim for breach of contract as she wasn't the one who bought the drink. So the drink is bought by her friend. So she sued Stevenson, which is the manufacturer of the ginger beer, and this is becomes a leading to a historic legal case. So what are the issues here in this case? So the key question was whether the manufacturer, Stevenson, owed Mr. Donoghue a duty of care. Now, even though there was no direct contract between Mr. Donoghue and Stevenson, because Mrs. Donoghue didn't buy the ginger beer. And the existing law at the time only recognized negligence if there was a contract. So if there is a contract between two party and the one that is held liable for duty has breached the duty, so it become a negligence. But in this case, there is no contract between Mrs. Stevenson and Mr. Stevenson and Mrs. Donoghue, as the product was bought by Mrs. Donoghue's friend. So the outcome of the legal case, the House of Lords ruled in favor of Mrs. Donoghue. So this case established that manufacturers owe a duty of care to consumers, even there is no direct contract. And then this case introduced the neighbor principle by Lord Atkin, stating that one must take responsible care to avoid acts or omissions that could foreseeably harm others. So if there, even though there is no contract, in neighbor principle, uh, they the neighbor must ensure that there is no harm being imposed to the surrounding neighbors. So what are the impacts of this case? So this case revolutionized tort law by establishing that negligence does not depend on contractual relationship. So it laid the groundwork for modern negligence law and the principles of duty of care. So this case is often cited for its establishment of the principles of duty of care and also the neighbor principle in the negligence law. So the next case, where negligence resulting in harm. This is a sample of case study for your reference, and for you to sharpen your skill in identifying the elements of negligence, which is falls under tort law. So the background of the case study is that Lisa, a resident of Tijawi, owns a small bakery, and then one day while mopping the floor, she forgets to place a wet floor sign. So John, a regular customer, sleeps on the wet floor, injures his back, and incurs medical expenses and loss of income due to his inability to work. So what are the legal issues here? So the first one, this case primarily involves around the concept of negligence. To establish negligence, John must prove that number one, there is a duty of care, which in this case, Lisa owed him a duty of care as customer visiting her bakery. And number two, there is a breach of duty by Lisa. So Lisa breached this duty by failing to provide adequate warning on the wet floor. And the third one is the causation, the relation, the cause and effect. The breach caused by Lisa directly caused John's injury. So there is a relation between the Lisa breach, the duty of providing adequate warning sign, and the injury suffered by John. So what are the damages? The fourth element, damages. So John did suffer actual damages. And these damages is in the form of number one, the medical expenses he had to pay, and then the loss of income due to his inability to work. So in general, the four elements of negligence, which is duty of care, breach of duty, causation, and damages. So if we analyze the case, in terms of duty of care, business owners have a legal obligation to ensure their premises are safe for customers. So number one, there's a duty of care of the business owner. But in our case, engineering technologies, our duty of care will be to ensure that passers-by, the public surrounding our construction activity, for example, our working on a road, uh, on in live traffic. So when you are working with on the road, for example, widening of the lane, or resurfacing of the premix, the road surface. So there is a public using the road, or there is a public passing by the road, the construction site. So there is a duty of care to ensure that the passerby, the traffic users, are not harmed by your activity. And number two, a breach of duty. So in this case, Lisa's failure to place a warning sign is a breach of her duty to maintain safe environment. And in your case, for example, when you have gone out to an industry in working, so there will be a breach that can be considered as breach of duty if you fail to provide, for example, if there is a one the road works, involved in the road work. So if you fail to provide early warning signs, and then traffic management, uh, planning, and also personnel for traffic management, such as uh, such as the traffic controller. So if you fail to provide that, there will be that can be considered as breach of duty should there is harm caused by the public user or traffic user, passerby or the traffic user. And the last one, if there's damages, but if there's no damages, then it can't be constituted as negligence. So the damages in this case, John's medical bills and lost wages, and that constitute the damages he seeks to recover. And in your case, the damages will be in this element, there's something that tangible, which is medical bill, loss of property, loss of car, for example, accident cost, uh, the damage of cars. So you need to compensate for that, and also need to compensate for the lost wages, the inability to work due to that person uh, had an accident caused by your breach of duty. So the outcome from this case, if the court finds that Lisa was negligent, John may be awarded compensation for his medical expenses, lost income, and possibly additional damages for pain and suffering, which includes trauma, uh, um, psychiatric problem caused by this event. In summary, so this thought is basically a claim from a person to a person. And thought consists of negligence, intentional thought, and then also a strict liability thought. And this is heavily related to our profession as engineering technology. So hope you guys find this knowledge meaningful, and I hope you guys learn something from it, and do make your own research and further study, because uh, it really affects your life. It really relate to your professional life later on, and it is important for you to have this information so that you are well prepared when you've gone into to construction industry, and you can avoid this type of action suit initiated by the public. And really, when we talk about construction, we talk about civil engineering, three elements, some say four elements. you have time constraint, you have cost constraint, and then number three is safety constraint. You need to ensure the safetiness, and then lastly is the quality of your product being built. But number third one, if you don't foresee, you cannot ensure the safetiness of your project. No, the damages, the cost that might uh, incurred on you or your company will be huge. And this includes the damages awarded by the court, and also the cost of the legal costs that you need to take throughout the whole legal process. So good luck, and see you in the next video.